Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm taking some time out of your evening. My name is Claire. I am the Girl Advocacy Leader for Central Texas, and I'm going to be one of the moderators today. So I just want to welcome you all. This is our third annual town hall. Which is amazing. Usually we have these in person, but tonight we're doing things a little bit differently. It's still going to be great, super informative. You're going to hear from lots of different kinds of people tonight, all across the board. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panelists. So first off, we have Cameron Pollard-Sampson with us. And they are the Houston Program Coordinator for Girls Empowerment Network, which is very exciting. We also have Julia Cuba-Lewis, who is the CEO and Executive Director of Girls Empowerment Network. Awesome. We have Adrienne Torres, who is a Central Texas Program Coordinator for Girls Empowerment Network. And we have Victoria Volansky, who is a Houston-based school social worker and private practitioner. So lots of different kinds of people all over the state of Texas. We're super excited to have everyone here tonight. So over the course of the next hour, we're hoping to learn more about the Girls Empowerment Network and what they've been up to, what life has been like for girls during this pandemic and this very unique world and situation we're living in right now, and what to expect from Girls Empowerment Network in the coming months. So please feel free to use the Q&A at any time during the panel. I'll be asking some questions, as will Bria, our other moderator. And so if you have any questions, go ahead. You don't have to wait till the end. You can just put them on in there down below. There's a little Q&A at the bottom of the screen. And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to start off with Tori and Adrienne. So y'all both work with girls. How are they doing right now? How have you seen this pandemic most affecting young people? And have you seen girls or youth in general giving feedback on what our blind spots are, what the blind spots can be for any organization that's trying to help girls right now?
I can pop in first, I guess. So how are they doing? I feel like, how are we all doing right now? Making it day by day is kind of what I've noticed. So their moods are changing daily, kind of always feeling a little bit different, at least in schools, is what I'm seeing. Everything feels a little weird. And I think one of the blind spots is that as adolescents, as kiddos, they don't really know how they're feeling, how to label how they're feeling, or what to do to help themselves feel better. So that's where ideally we come in. We can help with all of the coping strategies and things and really step in and try to support them in these blind spots that they don't even know that they have. So that's what I know most girls that are coming to see me are saying, is that they kind of just feel funky, they're extra anxious, and all the things that normally might not be that big of a deal feel like it's making their cup overflow right now. So they just are having a really tough time focusing. And then there's the aspect of social life. I mean, even in schools right now, they're really pretty separated in classrooms, so they're not able to socialize. The ones that I know are having a tricky time mostly are new students. So if y'all have any new student outreach that you could do, that might be a blind spot in any organization. It's just a way to connect with kiddos who are new on campus, who don't have any of those previous social interactions and who don't have any support systems in the community. So doing some extra outreach, really trying to pull those students in and get them involved, I think. I think that was all the questions, but I might want to piggyback on something that Adrienne says. So let's see what she has to say.
Thanks, Tori. I think you nailed that. I really do. I think it really makes sense for us to talk about how girls are experiencing anxiety and depression. And maybe they can't use that word. Maybe they don't know how to label that. And maybe they can label that with the way that their body feels. Maybe they're having like sensory sensations that make that us as people that know that as adults, even maybe we're the ones that can identify that, like, oh, it seems like, and we can kind of fill in those gaps for them. So maybe that's where we can come in. Some other things that I think that we really noticed as well, that Tori even touched on, was that isolation piece, right? Is really feeling lonely, is missing that connection with the people of their same age. Maybe they can't see their family even, maybe they can't see friends. And maybe right now they've even gotten back into the swing of school. But even so, they're not in the same room as those people as they remember, and that feeling isn't the same. Maybe they are back in a school right now and it's still social distance, it's masks, it's not having that close contact with the teacher. Maybe a lot of it is still virtual. So we can really still consider how isolated and how lonely it might feel, and how we as adults feel too. Maybe we're not seeing people like we used to, and I think that's probably still true for a lot of us. When I think about some of the gaps and some of the blind sides, and we have what we call YAC. So we have a youth advisory committee, and we constantly get feedback from young people. And that's, I think, something that is at the root of the work that we do, right? We can anticipate, we can really hope what we do is just exactly what they need. And we can't know that without asking those questions. So it's really important that we get that feedback. It's really important that we ask those questions. And it's really important that they know that they have a voice in all of that. So if we're doing something that isn't quite right, that we make sure that they know that we want them to let us know that, and that they always have a voice and they always have a place to be a part of the conversation. And especially in our groups that we have at Girls Empowerment Network, when we have a group, we make sure that girls know that if they want to direct our group in a different way, that they have an option. If what we have prepared for the day isn't the best for them, then they have an option to use their voice, and let us know that they need something else in that particular moment.
That's amazing. Yeah, so much that y'all said there. I definitely feel like everyone's identifying with the anxiety that's happening right now, the uncertainty, the isolation, all of that is really, really big. And that's amazing that the Girls Empowerment Network has youth advisory committees and actually gets feedback from girls, not just from parents, not just from friends and teachers, but the actual girls themselves, and that they can advocate for how they're feeling, how they're doing, and everything. So that's really amazing, all. So this next question is for Julia. Our GAL members, which is the Girl Advocacy League, took a look at this year's impact report, and we had this question for you. The direct and indirect service impacts are really impressive given that the year was impacted by COVID. What new services, direct or indirect, were developed because of COVID? And will you keep any of these new services once the pandemic is behind us, which is a funny thing to try and imagine right now, but if it ever is behind us, which it should be, but will those things stay in place? Are there things that have come up that y'all would like to keep going forward?
Yeah, thank you, Claire. And welcome everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to say something about what Adrienne was just talking about, because whenever we discovered that this pandemic was going to be as serious as it was, first we kind of had to have a little bit of a moment where I think we were all terrified for our communities and our families. And when we were able to catch our breath, we decided that we actually needed to call our community, the communities that we serve. And so much like what Adrienne was talking about with asking our girls, we actually asked our families. We reached out to about 2,000 families in our database, and we conducted phone interviews. We conducted surveys via email and online surveys. And we got a lot of feedback from families, and our girls in particular are talking about what they were experiencing, which we all know now what that was, but there was, technology deficiencies and job loss and food deficiency and needs that were basic needs that families were experiencing. But at the same time, they were talking about that isolation piece that we just were hearing about. And they were talking about the fact that their girls they were using the word bored a lot, and that they were very concerned about this boredom that was setting in and where that might lead. And in many cases, they talked about how their girls weren't staying connected to their friends because they used school as a place for that connection, but outside of school, it wasn't really happening in a meaningful way. And so there was a lot of fear about the summertime and how the summer may end up being this kind of devastating time for the girls. And so we asked them, what kind of programming can we offer that you would actually engage with? And what they told us was they wanted something that was flexible, that didn't have sort of a time constraint to it, like a 1 week time period. They wanted something that was going to be happening all the time, that they could plug into in a way that was flexible for them when they felt ready for it. They wanted something accessible that was very affordable or free. And they wanted something that promoted creativity because of that boredom aspect for their girls. And so we started looking at all the puzzle pieces, and it wasn't but maybe a day. And I am so incredibly impressed with our team because it wasn't maybe but a day before they came back with this idea for Spark Kits. And Spark Kits are these incredible kits that are hand decorated by hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of volunteers from around Texas who take the kits home, these blank white boxes that are just a little bit larger than a shoebox. And they actually design them with these empowering quotes and these super uplifting statements about being a girl. And the designs are beautiful. And they bring them back in this contactless fashion. And we get the kits back. And then we started filling those kits with supplies that would go along with an activity journal that has 25 different self-guided activities in it for girls who maybe don't have access to technology and they just needed something where they could spend time at home actually being creative and engaging with these activities that all build self-efficacy, which is what our focus is. Self-efficacy, a girl's belief in her ability to succeed. And so the other beautiful thing about these kits, though, the idea by our staff was that when the girl opens the lid of that kit, on the inside of that top lid, there is a direct invitation for her to join live groups, live virtual groups. And we held them daily during the summertime, sometimes 3 times a day, oftentimes 3 times a day. Girls were able to call in and they could work on the activities that were inside the kit together. They could talk to a girl expert. They could join a room that had girls who were their age. They could engage with other girls in a way that actually made them feel connected and reduced that isolation and increased their self-efficacy, increased their belief in their ability to succeed during this time when so many of us are wondering if we're going to make it. And so this was an incredibly powerful pivot for our organization. It gave, for those of you who like to think about how it affected our organization as a whole, and not just the families we were giving it to, but how did it affect Girls Empowerment Network? It not only gave our staff a new focus and something that we could pour our energy and our hearts into, but it galvanized the strengths and the powers of our network, our creative volunteers and our volunteers who were committed to getting these kits into the hands of girls. And it gave us something to fundraise for. We ran a 14-day group with some girls to find out if our virtual connection, our virtual engagement had any effect on their self-efficacy. And we in fact found out that those girls showed significant growth in self-efficacy through a virtual program. So our curriculum was working virtually. So we were empowered with the Spark Kits and with that new knowledge about the evaluation results in an online space that we can actually make a difference for girls from our houses. We don't have to be in the same room with them. We don't have to have all the girls together in the same room in person. We can create a space for them online that's really powerful. And for girls who don't have the technology to be able to connect with us through a computer, they could still call us on what we call our Connect line, which is a warm line that we launched this summer that's open for girls who just need somebody to talk to, or maybe they want to work through an activity inside their kit, and they could engage with our girl experts. And so they could connect with us either on the computer, by phone, or they could just work those activities on their own or with someone in their family. So it was a really elegant solution. And I have to say, Claire, I love the question that Gal asked because it was so elegant that we are not going to let it go. We are going to stick with Spark Kits. We will continue to hold, we're going to continue to hold in-person programming once the pandemic lifts and it's safe for us to send our teams back into schools and it's safe for girls to be in groups together with us. We will march right back into those schools and pick back up our programs and pick back up our camp and our Pathfinder and our conferences. But in the meantime, we know that Spark Kits is something that we want to cultivate nationally. We want to make sure that it has it has a reach for girls outside of the regions where we can meet them in person. And we have been able actually to send Spark Kits around nationally, but we want to grow that to a much, much bigger footprint. So we're behind the scenes, we're working on how to grow that footprint right now.
That's amazing. And I have to say, like, watching everything, unfold in the world and the turnaround time in which y'all like conducted all of those interviews and put Spark Kits together and galvanized all of the volunteers, like it was just amazing to see. And as a volunteer myself, they were really fun to decorate and also very fun to deliver. So I loved that. It's great. It was just great all around. And like seeing girls get so excited, it was just felt so good, and glad that it's actually helping and y'all are seeing good results from those things. Yeah. So the next question I have is for Cameron. So Cameron, it seems like the content for girls would be even more impactful if the messaging is reinforced at home. So what topics have been covered in the adult workshops, and who has had access to those adult workshops?
Yeah, without a doubt. Even before I became a part of Girls Empowerment Network, I always said it's like one thing to empower a person one on one, but it's a whole game changer when you can empower their entire system. So I'm very thankful that our organization feels the same way. And so we provide programming, like when you say adult workshops, we have that for both parents and guardians, as well as we do professional development for educators as well. And so a lot of the things we've been touching on, especially with this election season, we've talked about with parents and guardians, like values and voting, being an ally in a movement, goal setting, and then with our professional development opportunities, a lot of the things we've been talking about are things like promoting self-efficacy, especially in the time of COVID, having a trauma-informed classroom, growth mindset. And a lot of times the topics are very different because you want them to match your audience, but then there's a lot of things that are still the same that we're talking about. So yeah, the folks that have access to it are literally adults that interact with girls all the times, because we want girls to be empowered at all angles. We want them to feel it from everyone that they're interacting with on a daily basis.
That's amazing. And that's also just like speaks to how holistic y'all approach everything in your research and how you approach just all different sides of support networks and tapping into those networks. So that's really awesome. So this next question is for Adrienne. So many people look at the enthusiasm and engagement of youth in current civic discussions as reasons to feel optimistic about our future. How do young people and the youth themselves feel about this? Are they feeling empowered and influential? Are they feeling exhausted and frustrated looking at kind of the state of the world that they're about to enter and grow up in, and currently growing up in? All of the above, positive, negatives. How are they feeling?
Such a loaded question, right? There's so much to that. I'm going to do my absolute best. And for the most part, I think it's both, right? I think if you look at, as Cameron mentioned, like this past election, if you look at the voter turnout, young people showed up. They showed up and they showed out. And they voted for the candidate that they really thought supported their values, supported people. I think inclusivity was important. I think what it means to be an anti-racist was important. And so I still think the answer is both, because I am technically no longer a young adult. So I'll just put that out there, but I still feel young at heart. But in the state that I'm currently in, I feel both. I feel frustrated, and I feel hopeful. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And I think that's true for young people, right? I think they believe they have the power to truly change. And I think if they didn't show up to that election, that we would know that wasn't true, but they did show up. We have so many young activists right now. We have so many people that are full of hope. And we also have, we're still the adults in this. And I think we still have a lot of responsibility to continue to make those changes. So we don't have to give it all to them. They don't have to believe that it's all up to them. That's a lot to carry. And so I just want to say that I think that there's a lot of hope, and I think there's frustration, and I think those things can exist at the exact same time. And so I do feel I do feel like jazz, and I do feel thrilled, and I do feel like really inspired from what we see from young people. And I think it's okay that they are feel frustrated. I think it's okay that they think that the leadership isn't what they need, isn't what we need, isn't an example of what it means to empower people, or for better and betterment of society. And I think that's all okay at the same time, right? And I really believe that I even believe that I think in the next few years, we're going to really see all this hard work come into fruition. We're going to see all the development happen, and we're going to really see some changes. And I do think that's going to be at the core of young people. And I think at the same time, as the adults in the room, the adults that are aiding, that we have a lot of work to do, and our work is certainly not done. So to answer your question, both.
I love that answer. And totally agree. I think everyone's kind of felt that way. I think older generations definitely feel more of the frustration than the hope, maybe not. But it's really amazing to see like an entire generation be so galvanized and ready to go, whether it's coming from a place of hope or from a place of frustration. Either way, they're getting involved, they're ready to go, and ready to take action, which is really awesome to see.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, what you just said is movement, right? Frustration creates movement, and so does hope. And that's what we need, right? Is the movement and the shift. And either of those will create that.
Exactly. I love that. All right. Well, I am going to pass my moderator role on to Bria. So Bria is our Houston Gal leader. I'll let her introduce herself, but I'm going to pass it on to her, and she's going to take it away with the rest of the questions. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, Claire. Like she said, my name is Bria Virgil, and I'm employed at Girls Empowerment Network. I'm the Houston Fundraising AmeriCorps Vista, and I'm also the staff liaison for the Girl Advocacy League in the Houston area. So I'm gonna circle back to Tori with a few questions for her. So how much impact is social media having on middle school and high school girls? And is this impact more impactful than traditional media?
That's a really good question. And this is a great one. If any of the other panelists want to chime in after I'm done, I would love it, because I work primarily with elementary age students. Haven't worked with middle schoolers and high schoolers for quite some time, but I can speak on even elementary age kids. With the amount of time that they've been on computers now virtually, they've been engaging with one another through social media. And I think it's sort of both. Again, the answer is both. It's positively impacting them a lot, and it can be a negative impact too. So during this time, it's really helped to keep those social connections going. If they didn't have those social connections through social media, they might even be feeling more isolated than they are now. And at the same time, comparison is the thief of joy. That's sort of, the coined phrase. And so I think it's really trying to work with them and, just meet them where they're at. So coming to them and letting the students or the kids, the girls, kind of explain to you how they're feeling, and just treating social media like you would a playground or any other social situation. So trying not to stigmatize it too much, and really just reflecting whatever they're feeling and empathizing with their emotions, empathizing with what's going on with them at home, and letting them tell you how they feel about it in the moment. Because I think it's different for every girl interacting in different scenarios.
Cameron, did you have something to add to the social media aspect?
Just echoing what Tori is saying, I feel like especially with middle and high school, that social media is, even for us, I think social media is a form of connection. And when you can't be around those folks, you're craving it even more. And I mean, just like Tori said, it's two-sided. There's one side where I feel that they're gaining more social media etiquette in a way because they're on it so much. But then there's also that turning point where you see folks posting about maybe the opportunities they're getting, that their families can take them on certain trips that are socially distant and safe. But I can't do that, so that makes me feel really negative about myself. It's such a complex thing that was already complex before COVID, and now you throw COVID in there and it's even more complicated.
A follow-up question to that is, how can adults help young people safely navigate social media?
Yeah, that's a great one. So, firstly, I think kind of being informed yourself about what social media they're using. So, even if you're not going to, make a profile, at least getting on and seeing what it's about, kind of just instead of taking somebody else's word for it, doing a little bit of your own research and digging about what positive and negatives come with each platform. And then, like I said, kind of letting each girl come to you and really just speak her truth. So, depending on the scenario, maybe it's a positive interaction or maybe it's a negative one, but treating it just like any other social interaction, empathizing, and then offering advice if that's what they're looking for, offering to let them vent if that's what they're looking for, really just being that supportive person that they trust. Because if you can do that in the times of positive interactions, then when they're having not such a good time, they know they can trust you and they know that they can come and talk to you about something really challenging for them that they maybe wouldn't feel like they could talk to anybody else about.
Thank you so much. Such helpful tips. Cameron, I have a question for you. Are we seeing a drop off when it comes to virtual events due to Zoom fatigue? And are girls less motivated to join in on virtual events and programming after all day schooling or virtual learning?
Yeah, being very transparent. Definitely has been a drop off. I think when we first saw it, it was very disheartening because we're so used to having so many girls engage, being able to feel the presence in the room. And then you get online and you're like, okay, where is everybody? But being someone who's working from home, I'm exhausted at the end of the day from looking at a screen, and I'm not doing my school day along with everything else with that. And also, I think about when I was an adolescent or when I was a kid, I wanted to blend in. I did not want anyone to look at me because apparently everyone was watching me. And so I can only imagine what it's like for them having to log in for school and having a camera this close to their face 24/7. So yes, there has been a drop off, and I definitely do feel that they're less motivated. And then when they do join, a lot of the times they don't want their camera on. They only want to speak through the chat, which, of course, as the expert facilitators we still make it work. But it's hard to build connection that way. We learn connection through that eye contact, through that body language. So yes, all of that to say yes.
Awesome. With virtual learning becoming such a big part of our lives and girls' lives, what does it mean for girls who don't have steady internet access or access to laptops and Wi-Fi?
I think this goes back really to what Julia was saying about how our Spark Kits are designed. So yes, you do have access to get in virtual groups with us if you do have the technology, but at the same time, those activities are self-guided. They don't require anything else but the things that are in their Spark Kit, and you can still get that empowerment in that way on your own. So yes, we offer those opportunities for those who do have the access, but we don't forget about those who don't, because that's what Girls is all about. Supporting girls no matter where they're coming from, meeting girls where they're at.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that we pivoted that way. Julia, what new programs or initiatives are coming down the pipeline at Girls Empowerment Network?
So glad you asked, Bria, because we have something amazing brewing right now, which is that if you do the math, we were founded in 1996, which means that 2021 is our 25th anniversary. We were 25 years old starting in 2021, which just completely blows my mind. And the other little piece of math that we have been doing lately is the number of girls that we will have served in our 25th year. And that number, I don't know if anybody can guess what number that would be. If you want to just like imagine a number in your mind, I'm going to tell you what the number is and we'll see if you were right. It is 100,000 girls in 25 years. 100,000 girls in 25 years. I'm so amazed by that. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. And so we are going to celebrate our 25th anniversary this next year. That is going to be one giant thing that we do. And one of the ways that we're doing that is by focusing and honing in on something that we've done for a long time, but we're really revisiting it this next year. And that is around advocacy and activism. That is our theme. And we're actually thinking about this in terms of the idea that it should not be political to say that a girl is powerful. But for some reason today it is. And so we are going to boldly say that girls are powerful and boldly teach them how to believe in their ability to succeed. And so we are launching our 25th anniversary campaign. We'll be calling it Girls Are Powerful. And we'll be inviting as many people as are interested in being a part of this campaign as we can get. And we'll be inviting people to help us fundraise. We'll be inviting people to help us come up with content for our programming that we're going to be launching that's kind of a new initiative in collaboration with another organization, which I will tell you about in a second. But we will be amassing a giant committee of people, and we hope that we can bring aboard people from across the state of Texas who represent lots of different sectors, who want to get behind this idea that girls are powerful and help us really celebrate this 25 years that we've been in existence in teaching girls self-efficacy and help us to take the next steps for our next 25 years. We have a big goal of raising $500,000 new dollars. And so we're really excited about that goal. That means new money to us. So we're going to be out there really knocking down the doors of donors who are interested in making sure that Girls Empowerment Network thrives for the next 25 years as we continue to do this bold work with girls. And then the project that I'm very excited about that I mentioned just a few seconds ago is in collaboration with the Excellence and Advancement Foundation. They are an extraordinary organization that is devoted to breaking the school to prison pipeline. And they do that in a lot of ways, but one way that they excel in and that they really have an expertise in is around activism training for youth. And so we have identified them as a partner to team up with on a project that we call the Spark Change Project. And this project will allow us to hire 5 high school girls who will actually bring together more girls through a number of programs that we'll be delivering. One of them is Spark Change Day, which will happen in the spring of 2021. And then one of them is Spark Change Camp, which will happen in the summer of 2021. And through those programs, these 5 high school girls are going to get a chance to develop curriculum and train girls on how to use their voice to advocate for their communities. And what we know is that through all of this, they're going to actually begin to develop a policy agenda. And our goal is for these Spark Change girls to actually testify at the 2023 legislative session with that policy agenda. So it is going to be a multi-year project, and in collaboration with the Excellence and Advancement Foundation, called the Spark Change Project. For those of you who are interested in learning more about it, you will be seeing us talking about this in upcoming newsletters, and we'll be sharing broadly about the work that these 5 high school girls will be doing. I'm also excited to say that Adrian is one of our Spark Change Project leaders. So you'll be seeing a lot more from her in the coming months as we ramp up into full Spark Change Project mode. So that's what's on the horizon for us. I'm really excited about it.
I'm so excited too. Thank you so much, Julia. Adrian, what are some of the best practices our facilitators are using to stay connected with our girls virtually?
Oh my goodness, yes, what a great question. I also want to say I am so excited for our new project. I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there before I move on. I cannot wait. I'm so stoked to be a part of that. Okay, so some best practices. We did have to go virtually really quick, right? And a platform that we use is Zoom. So we had to use Zoom to our advantage and to make that as personal as possible. So Zoom is actually really awesome. And some of the things that we had to do is figure out, okay, maybe we need some breakout rooms. Maybe we need to make it for our bigger groups. Maybe we need to make it feel a little smaller and more connected. Breakout rooms, boom. You know what? Actually, Zoom has a really cool whiteboard feature. Maybe we need to bust that out get people to write on the whiteboard. Everybody gets to be a part of that. So it's essentially like we're writing on a board in the same room, and every girl has access to that in the group. There's ways to use stamps, and it makes it really fun. So we've had to kind of make the virtual world look more like when we're all in the same room together. We also want to keep it really, really energized, right? We use what we call magic. And magic is the core, I think, of what we do. In addition to self-efficacy, we promote that, but we also really want to focus on that magic because that's what brings girls back. It makes it feel special. It's not just asking them a question, it's asking them a question that's relevant to them. It's making it fun. Maybe I'm coming with a theme that day. Maybe maybe I'm making it colorful. Maybe I'm making it musical. Maybe I'm making it something that really interests those girls. And that's that magic that we bring. We want to make it vibrant for them. And I think that's been one of the most key things and why we still have girls coming back to us, because we make it fun and we can talk about those hardcore issues and we can have fun while we do it. Something that I thought that came up, especially when Tori was talking, was like about communication and the ways that we've had to change our communication, right? And I think that's something we've done too. How can we communicate effectively virtually? How can we talk about how to be an assertive communicator virtually? And we've really had to have those conversations too, right? We can even do that over social media, and that might be difficult. And it's something that we're figuring out that we have to adapt to. So I think really bringing the magic has been the most important, and just thinking about how now we need to think just virtually, right? We need to think about what it looks like to have conversations that don't happen in the same room, and how to have those effectively. Also, Cameron, I feel like this would be a great question for you to answer. So I'm going to actually pass it to you in true Girls Empowerment Network fashion.
Without a doubt. I think you covered a lot about the ways we make it more engaging. I think also just having to, so we talk about being on, right? You're on 24/7 when you are a program coordinator with Girls Empowerment Network. And when you're on Zoom, you have to turn your on more. You have to really bring it. And so like some of the things we do, like sometimes we get super close to the camera when we're talking to them, or we get super far back. I had an elementary school group yesterday and I was like, show me a number 1, 2, 3, turn your camera on, turn it off, on. We're gonna all unmute ourselves and we're gonna scream at the same time. Just having to get really, really engaging in that way. And I see that it brings something out of them. You know, it's hard to bring normalcy to something that isn't normal, but that high energy, that interaction with them, it gets them happy, it gets them excited, and it makes me personally feel good because I miss that connection with them. And I know that's so selfish, but I really miss that, and it makes me happy to see that it makes them feel good too.
Awesome. Thank you, Cameron. A question from one of our viewers for Julia. What are ways you all recommend to let more girls know and get on board with programs that we offer? So what are ways that I guess women out here now that are listening in can get girls involved in our programming?
I mean, we have a pretty vibrant social media presence. We would love to invite you to follow us on social media so you can see all the different programs that are coming out. We've got some great workshops that are coming up that we've been promoting for weekend gatherings for girls virtually. So watching our social media channels, we've got newsletters that you can sign up for that come out monthly and sometimes more often than that. So you can grab information that way. And our website is actually a fantastic place to communicate with our staff. You can connect with various programs through the different pages on our website, give you direct access to our staff who are facilitating programs. So those would probably be the number one ways of connecting with us. Our website is www.girlsempowermentnetwork.org, girlsempowermentnetwork.org. And we are active on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Those are our major sites. We've also got a YouTube channel that is really fabulous, that has a lot of different videos that you can engage in with girls or that you can send to girls. Some of them are really beautiful, relaxing meditation videos for girls who are experiencing anxiety. or just want to practice meditation. And we've also got a Grow Girl Grow video series, which is a wonderful way that volunteers have been providing us with their skills and talents. And so they actually film a video about a talent that they have and how you do it. So if they know how to cook something, or I know someone did how to change a tire on a car. We've had someone teach people how to have a difficult conversation. And so these videos are incredibly informative and educational, and they are directed just for our girls. And so highly recommend that you find our YouTube channel and explore all those videos. Those are a way to connect girls immediately to our services. And then Spark Kits, of course.
Yes, of course, Spark Kids. Speaking of volunteers, what are ways that people right now listening can get involved? And that's open to anybody at the Girls Empowerment Network team. Julie?
I mean, it's the same answer. I think what we are looking for right now, I can tell you, is that we have these relatable role model letters that we have been asking volunteers to write. These are letters that go into our Spark Kits. And they're letters from the heart from adults who can talk about how to build girls' belief in their ability to succeed, how to build their self-efficacy. And you just write it from your own perspective. It is just a heartfelt letter to a girl that you don't know, who's going to open it up and is going to have a moment in her life when she reads your words. And so we need more relatable role model letters, and you can easily sign up to do that. And all of our volunteer needs right now, which would include helping to deliver Spark Kits for those that are donated in our Central Texas and Houston areas. You can do that in a contactless way. We also look for volunteers to join special programming that we're doing for girls that comes out at special moments. And if you're on the list, we'll be reaching out to you to invite you to do that. So you can sign up to be a volunteer at our website, which is www.girlsempowermentnetwork.org. And just go to the Get Involved section and sign up to be a volunteer there. And you will start getting a volunteer newsletter that is fabulous and beautiful, and has all of the different very cool ways that you can engage with us. And but I'd say right now, we definitely need those relatable role model letters. And then we hope that if you are interested in volunteering with us, that you'll consider joining our 25th anniversary campaign committee in the spring.
Perfect, thank you. Adrian and Cameron, we have a question asking if we have volunteers in our virtual groups.
I can take it if you want me to, Adrian.
Please do.
Yes, we definitely have volunteers in our virtual groups. So in our Open Girl Connect groups, we have groups Monday through Saturday. On Monday through Friday, we have groups at 4 p.m. and 5:15 p.m. And then on Saturdays, we have groups at 11. And we love to have volunteers there co-facilitating with us, getting to be like another adult in the virtual room, so that girls can feel that empowerment from all angles.
Awesome. And if you want to take, if you want to go another step further besides volunteering, you can also join the Girl Advocacy League. We can't help but invite you to join that. You can go to @Girl Advocacy League on Instagram and click the link in the bio. It'll send you to our registration page. Memberships are $10 a month or $100 a year, and you'll have access to our members only events. And you also get these 2 free events where you can invite a friend to join, which would be the town hall or our Galentine's event. With the membership, you get access to our little Gal member Facebook page, where you can talk to other members and meet new people in the Central Texas or Houston area. And you get exclusive volunteer opportunities with Girls Empowerment Network. So you definitely want to check out the Girl Advocacy League, and make sure you follow us on Instagram at Girl Advocacy League. And we also don't want to forget that we have giveaways offered tonight for all of our viewers. So we're about to do our giveaway with our little, bear with me, number randomized little app. So I'm about to get that set up for you guys right now. But we also want to sound a reminder for our current GAL members. Our December event is going to be hosted December 9th. It's a virtual wine tasting, so you don't want to miss that. And we're also handing out prizes, and we have some surprise GAL gear coming out. So make sure y'all tune in. And if you're not a member of GAL, hurry up and sign up today and join this wonderful group of young professionals. Our first winner is Anna Garcia. She get a pair of Kendra Scott earrings. Thank you, Kendra Scott. Do we have another one? I don't know. And then, yes, yay, Anna. We'll make sure we reach out to you to make sure you get your prize. And then, sorry, guys.
Hi, y'all. This is Chelsea. I'm swooping in. Joan Phillips is the winner of our Girls Empowerment Network swag bag. So that'll come
Yay,
with
Joan.
t-shirts, that'll come with a pencil case, a journal, and then Jenny is the winner of our Aya candles. Aya is a really great candle company run by two sisters who right now are actually donating a portion of the proceeds to Girls Empowerment Network. So if you are looking for some gifts this holiday season, make sure and check out Aya candles.
Yes, thank you, Kendra Scott and Aya Candles, for your prizes and donating and supporting Girls Empowerment Network. All right, thank you again for everybody viewing in. If y'all have more questions, we still have time to take them, so go ahead and drop them in the Q&A. But if not, Julia, do you have any closing statements as our CEO?
You know, I think I didn't prepare anything, so I will just say off the cuff, though, that this work from home experience could have been disastrous for our organization, and it has been nothing but a joy because our team has been working so hard to stay connected with each other, and we have found such wonderfully fun ways to do that, that I feel like we may even be more connected now than we ever have been. And so this pandemic will come to an end. It surely will. And we will surely go back to being with our girls again and being with each other again in our offices in Central Texas and Houston. But I will never forget the time that we've had together in this very strange, remote Zoom space together. It has been emotional and it's been taxing at times, but it has also been such an amazing teacher and such a wonderful opportunity for us to bond. And I think we've done that for our girls. And I think we've also seen our volunteers show up at such an extraordinary rate. We've been able to utilize volunteer support, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers in a way that I never could have guessed during this pandemic. So I just reflect on what an incredible time this has been for us. And the pivot that we've made, but also how grateful I am that we have people like all of you who show up on a night like tonight when it's dark outside and you have probably some amazing HBO show you could go watch right now, but you've tuned in to see us. And so we know that you truly believe in helping us ignite the power in girls and helping to make girls in our communities unstoppable. And for that, we are eternally grateful. And to our staff and our volunteers who are here tonight, and especially our panelists, I want to thank you all too. You are spectacular humans who answered those questions in such compelling and real ways. And I actually learned a few things listening to you, and the fact that you have so much passion and knowledge about our organization makes me incredibly proud. So thank you to all of you so much for tonight. This was really special to be with you.
Thank you, Julia. I would rather be nowhere else. Like, this is it. We do have one more question that came in from Jenny. What are you hearing from funders and donors about their concerns or the direction they want the organization to take in light of COVID?
We've actually been amazed. The donors who had already made contributions to us that we were carrying out when COVID-19 hit have been extremely flexible in allowing us to adapt our programming to the virtual space. And so we've been able to maintain the gifts that were given to us and to continue to thrive with those gifts. And then we've also felt the love from our Central Texas and Houston communities, and Dallas too, wanting to make sure that we are safe and thriving during this time. It's not that it hasn't been difficult, but we've just seen our donors really step up to make sure that we are safe at this time. So what we hear is that things may be getting a little bit tougher whenever things get back to being safe again, to be in person, that donors may pull back a little bit. And so we are hopeful. We're very, very hopeful and optimistic that our 25th anniversary campaign comes at a time when we can really ask our donors to continue to support us and celebrate this incredible milestone and this incredible legacy that we're leaving for our communities.
Yes, I completely agree. But this wouldn't be a Girls Empowerment Network panel if we didn't ask, what is a piece of advice that you would give to your middle school self? I'm going to head and start off with Cameron.
Yes, my middle school self was a very interesting individual, to say the least. But I would definitely tell her first to breathe, that your voice matters, that you are special, you are capable, you are a powerhouse no matter what anyone says, and that to use your voice. Because I didn't use my voice a lot, and now I can't stop using my voice. And I'll pass it to whoever is ready to go next.
I'll go next. I love that, Cameron, that you can't stop using your voice now, especially since you're a new mom. That's pretty cool. I just would tell myself to calm down. My goodness, I was super stressed out about how I was being perceived by the world, and it took up a lot of time and energy and mental space. And I could have had so much more fun the way that I did later in life. And once I was able to kind of rest that voice in my mind, I just was able to embrace more of the world around me and the people around me and enjoy my confidence. And I wish that I had had that in middle school, because there were a lot of cool people around me, but that I didn't get to enjoy as much. So I am going to pass it to Tori.
All right. I think for my middle school self, I could use some breathing advice. So I really could have used some mindfulness meditations back then, but I also could have used some balance. So to sort of settle and to know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and that all the emotions that you're feeling are normal, and that a lot of other people have been in the exact same spot feeling the same way, and that yeah, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you will find your way right on through it. All right. Who is Adrian?
Thank you. I think my gut reaction was like validation. And that could be like whatever that certain feeling was of like, yeah, you can feel that. It's okay to feel that way. Like it makes sense you feel that way. I think I could have like certainly used like a little like, okay, it's okay, like validation. And I think the next thing I would probably tell myself is like, it gets better, boo. Like it gets better. The best is yet to come. I wish I could go back and tell myself that right now. The best is yet to come. And if you could see yourself now, that's really what I would say. So I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for y'all input and being such wonderful representations of Girls Empowerment Network. We really enjoyed the panel, and thank y'all so much again. Thank you for everybody who viewed and tuned in. Like Julia said, y'all could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here and enact the power in girls. So make sure you follow our pages, Girls Empowerment Network and Girl Advocacy League, and join Girl Advocacy League. We'd love to have you. It's a wonderful group of women, and it's awesome to volunteer with us. So until next time, thank y'all so much for tuning in.